thank you for everyone who's watching our webinar for today. So as mentioned, I will be discussing about the environmental impacts of large dams as a context to the resource conflict and the human rights issues that are being experienced by environmental defenders in Asia. So before we start, it's important to know what is the definition of large dams. So large dams have a height of 15 meters or greater from the lowest foundation to crest, or a dam between 5 to 15 meters, impounding more than 3 million cubic meters. The main impact of large dams is the blocking of ecological continuity. This stems from the creation of the barrier in the river, which practically stops the flow of the river or is being controlled by the operators of the dam. So more than 40% of the global river volume is moderately to severely impacted by the fragmentation due to large dams. So because of that, and the upstream part of the river, the reservoir inundates a great part of the forests. The inundation of the forests causes the emission of methane, which is a greenhouse gas, when the vegetation decays under the water. It also submerges the peripheral areas wherein the riparian or the riverside ecosystems are also affected, including the upland parts of the forests. So this causes a chemical and physical change in the area, which also affects flora and fauna, since these species have evolved for hundreds of years to a certain environment, which would only be changed by the sudden creation of a large dam. The creation of the barrier also causes sedimentation. These sediments hold valuable nutrients that should have been replenished in the downstream parts of the river. These nutrients are needed by the different species for their livelihood, for their lives and their sustenance. So while the upstream parts are being submerged, the downstream areas of the river experience a lower water supply. And sometimes there is also a sudden release of water from extreme weather events, from the actual people who control the dams, and from the dam collapses because of the loss of structural integrity of these large dams. Possible local extinctions of different species could also occur, especially migratory fish, wherein the lifespan encompasses the freshwater down to the marine ecosystems. Some fish, such as salmon, lays their eggs in the freshwater and travels down to the marine ecosystem, wherein they spend their adulthood and then go back to the freshwater to spawn again. So with the dam, that is disrupting their migration, their actual lives are at stake. Other species from different ecosystems are also affected, especially the wildlife that are not able to migrate to farther parts of the forests, and especially those who won't be able to find habitat in different areas. Species in wetland areas are also affected, including birds, which are an important bioindicator of ecological health. And when plants and animals are affected, of course, people will also be affected. So people depend on nature for their food and other timber and non-timber products where they get their source of income. They are also displaced from their homes and lose their other needs for survival. In this particular case of indigenous people, this means losing their ancestral domains that is the source of their identity and culture. So in summary, large dams are actually unsustainable. They cause a loss of ecological integrity. They contribute to climate change due to the greenhouse gas emissions. And they accumulate sediment behind the dam impoundment. And they cause, and through time, there is a loss of structural integrity due to the aging of construction materials. Because of this, it is really needed to find an alternative to large dams and to rehabilitate degraded ecosystems instead of causing more damage to them.